So, I just want to say that in this video I present some facts and science around NoFap, and I also throw in some of my own opinions. If you are a NoFap soldier and 100% sure that NoFap is the greatest thing that has ever happened to humanity, please bear with me and watch till the end to see my conclusion before you call me bad words and dislike the video for questioning or challenging NoFap in any way. And also, leave your own experiences and opinions in the comments and I'll respond to everyone. So let's jump into the video. Well, there is this community online that never touch their units because apparently it gives them supernatural powers. This phenomenon is called NoFap, and today we are doing a complete objective breakdown to see if it's anything worth doing. After browsing the forums and also watching a bunch of content on YouTube, some of the benefits that these guys are claiming is just straight up ridiculous. Here's a few of the most commonly claimed anecdotal benefits that people are experiencing on NoFap. Increased alertness and energy, increased motivation, increased confidence, less social anxiety, reduced brain fog, girls find you more attractive, a newfound interest in life and hobbies, stopped seeing women as objects and instead as people you want to connect with, a higher attraction and motivation to go after real women, destructive erections. Okay, so these sound pretty awesome, and I am on the verge of making the decision to never touch my doink again. But if you know me, you know that I'm a bit of a snob and I like to see some scientific studies on claimed benefits, since the placebo effect can be pretty strong. But on the other hand, the NoFap cult is strong. There are multiple active forums, as well as many videos here on YouTube with millions of views, where they just completely sell this idea of NoFap as the #1 self-improvement tool available. So, before jumping into the science and that kind of stuff, I'd just like to address a little problem with NoFap. And it's the confusion between no porn and NoFap. Because many of the NoFap advertisement videos and articles you'll find, they just completely bash porn for 10 minutes and then it's over, leaving you with the highly philosophical and eternal question: what if I just jack it to like a picture or imagination? I mean, if porn is what's the problem. And the other little difference in the NoFap world is that there's one thing called NoFap and there's also NoFap hard mode, where NoFap encourages you to go out there and find real women and have sex with them with your destructive okay. And hard mode is just plain old celibate, abstaining from all sexual activity. So now it's time to jump into the boring stuff to see if some scientist somewhere has found out if there is real benefits to NoFap and at least no porn. So it pretty much comes down to these 3 things that you could look at that's not experiences or anecdotal: testosterone, prolactin, and dopamine. You probably know what testosterone is if you click a video like this, but I'll just cover it anyway. Testosterone is good for you as a man, and it's a hormone that makes you healthy, feel good, more manly, and it lowers your inhibition and increases motivation. Many fapstronauts, yeah, that's what they're called, explains how their testosterone rises as a result of NoFap, and it makes them more like this more manly alpha kind of guy. There is actually science backing this as well. A Chinese study from 2003 showed that after a week of not ejaculating, a man's testosterone levels had increased by 140%. But there's one aspect of this study that NoFappers seems to ignore completely many times. Because on the 8th day of not ejaculating, the testosterone levels started to drop again and went back to normal levels rather quickly. And there's really no difference between a normal guy's testosterone levels and someone who hasn't fapped in 20 plus days. So if we were to look at NoFap from the benefit of peaking your testosterone, every 7th day fap would make more sense. So let's move on to the next one, which is prolactin. Prolactin is a hormone that is sometimes looked at when discussing benefits of NoFap. It's basically a hormone responsible for making milk, but it also has another function in the human body, especially for males. It makes you more satisfied and at peace when it comes to sexual desire. It's basically the hormone that shoots out after you orgasm, causing your sexual desires to drop. Some people claim that fapping makes you dull because you constantly have high levels of prolactin. This could be true, but the thing is this. Real sex makes your prolactin spike up more than 400% more than when fapping. And real sex also elevates your testosterone levels, which is good. So we can't really get something clear out of this research. Maybe this is one point for NoFap hard mode, since prolactin would probably be good to avoid if you want to keep your motivation and drive at peak performance. So, the third chemical we can look at is dopamine. Dopamine is what gets you excited and drives you to do things and also give you pleasure of doing things. Like going to a restaurant, going for a girl, just waking up in the morning. That's dopamine that gives you that push, that feeling of want and desire and reward. So it's basically the building blocks of our very survival and existence. No porners and no fappers say that porn and fapping makes their motivation very low, and a common argument for this is that a lot of it has burnt out their dopamine receptors. And this is because sex and porn as well is causing a huge spike of dopamine in the brain. A lot of these claims are based on a study done on rats. In the study, a rat would eventually get bored of mating with the same female mice after a while. But when a new female mice was introduced to the cage, the male would mate with her, keeping this flow going until it basically couldn't move. Many NoFappers says that this is the same effect we get when browsing porn sites and having a bunch of different tabs open, since this keeps the dopamine flowing due to our primal instinct of wanting to mate with a new female. We eventually cause this burnout in the dopamine receptors. There is no actual science backing this effect on the human brain when it comes to using high-speed internet porn. The only thing is the correlation on how it works with rats and the anecdotal opinions of guys on NoFap. The science I found on this is not really backing the theory of burning out dopamine receptors and causing a duller life in general. But I have to admit that it does make sense. The brain is wired to regulate dopamine levels due to environment. So, if you can jack off and get a huge dopamine spike 3 times a day, your brain will probably not reward you with as much dopamine for things like getting some validation from a real female. And like I said, this is a bit of a gray zone. Nothing can really be proven to be one way or the other. But if you ask me, it makes sense if you look at how the reward system in the brain works. So, we can't really prove that this is the case with the help of science, and therefore I will say that this is a maybe. So I would still consider this dopamine claim to be valid, but it's not proven. And I wouldn't worry about having burnt out my dopamine receptors from porn. That's more of a valid fear to have if you've done cocaine for 3 weeks straight, morning to night. Another thing is that if you're addicted to porn, you might tweak your sexual desires because of the need for variation and lose some interest in real life sexual situations. Okay, but once again, this is a no porn argument and not a NoFap argument. So even with this, it seems like fap once every 7th day but try to avoid porn is your best bet. So you guys are probably mad at me right now because I made you watch 10 minutes of a NoFap video. You're probably all even more confused now than you was before. But I got you, I'll try to make a little bit of a conclusion from all of this. When it comes to the science, it looks like porn is actually good to abstain from, or at least to use in moderate amounts. Porn can cause you to need more abnormal stimuli and maybe cause some loss of interest in a real partner or quote real world sex. But the old burn out the dopamine receptors argument is kinda hard to speak on since there isn't any proven scientific report claiming this effect in humans. But it could be though. It hasn't been debunked, but it hasn't been proven either. I don't know, man. Some research says that NoFap might have some changes in the hormones and chemicals of the brain that could benefit you. But in reality, what's going on inside of our brains and bodies is complex, and we are all an individual cocktail of chemicals. So if you are interested in NoFap, try it for yourself and see how you feel. If it makes you feel more confident, alert, or filled with energy and motivation, or if it helps you become a better partner, by all means, go for it. And also, there's another factor that I didn't even include, but that's pretty interesting and worth to look at. That's the psychological part of knowing that you do not fap. This could be enough to make you go that extra mile for real intimacy with females. I mean, the hand is always there for you in the end of the day, but when you're on NoFap and you don't cheat, you need to break barriers and go after the real deal if you really want to release. And also that you're training yourself in discipline and doing something to better yourself. This can cause a snowball effect of sharpening up and improving in multiple areas of your life, which will attract well-being as well as even women, regardless if NoFap gives you superpowers or not. And before I leave you guys, I'll just throw in this little bonus study I found here, basically saying that when you are on NoFap, your body sends out pheromones, which should cause females to actually be slightly more attracted to you. So, yeah, that was all for the video. Hope you enjoyed. Like I said, comment your experience, I'll respond to everyone. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, goodbye!